We're going to learn how to write our kanji numbers in this video tutorial, starting with number 1, ichi. Now it's not very difficult, and you can see where the ancient Chinese were coming from, and they simply drew one straight line to indicate the number 1. Number 2, pronounced ni, was not much harder. Slightly shorter line on the top, followed by an ever so slightly longer line underneath, and there we have ni. 2 lines representing 2. You can see that 3 follows the same pattern. 1 line on the top, smaller line in the middle, and a similar length line along the bottom. There we have 1, 2, 3, san. Next we have a kangaroo stuck in a box. How many limbs does a kangaroo have? Well, 4, of course. There are 2 ways of pronouncing 4 in Japanese, shi and yong. Okay, let's draw the box in which we find the kangaroo. Down on the left-hand side. Our second and third stroke in box shapes are always combined. So across, and without taking our pen off, we turn the corner and come down. That's our box. Inside we find the katakana ru, which looks like the tail and the front leg of a kangaroo. And then finally we're going to close that box off. And there we have a kangaroo with all 4 limbs inside a box. Shi or yong. Next we have go, which is 5. Now before I do the proper stroke order and show you the way to write the kanji, I'm just going to do this. And you can see very clearly the number 5 is hidden inside that character. Let's do it the proper way in the proper stroke order. Okay, our first stroke goes across, and that's up the top. Next we go down, then we go across and round, and then finally we put our stroke across the bottom, and there we have the character for 5, go. The kanji for 6 has 2 elements. On the top we have 2 strokes, down and across, and underneath we have an element which looks identical to the katakana ha, down on the left and down on the right. Now ha is the starting sound of the number 8, hachi, and in a moment or two you'll also learn that it's the kanji for the number 8. So the number 6 has 2 strokes fewer than the number 8. Roku, 6. Next comes 7, which again has 2 pronunciations, shichi and nana. Now before we do the stroke order and the strokes for shichi or nana, I'm just going to spin this character around for you and see if you can recognize the number 7 there. And it's drawn the European way with the strokes in the middle. So that's an upside down European number 7. Let's turn it back again and have a look at the stroke order. So we go across for our first stroke, and the upside down 7 goes in next. Shichi, nana. Now I've already mentioned hachi. It's got 1 stroke on the left and another stroke on the right. Now this little linking bit that you can see up the top here, that's only used when this number is printed, just to make it very clear that it's hachi and it doesn't get mistaken for a different kanji. But when we're writing it by hand, we don't need that little top bit. Now hachi is like a steep roof on a building which has been cut in half. Ha sounds like hachi. And of course the number 8 in Japanese is, in fact, hachi, hachi, a roof cut in half. Now the kanji for 9, which is pronounced either ku or kyu, very much like the katakana ka. The stroke order is a little different because we're going to start with this downstroke first. So that's our first stroke. Our second stroke is going to go across, round the corner, just as if you're writing a ka, but instead of turning left at the bottom, we're going to veer around like this. and turn right. And that's going to give us the number 9. So it looks just like katakana ka, which sounds like a cat. And cats have 9 lives. But unlike the katakana ka, they also have a tail, as does the number 9. So that's ku or q, the number 9, the cat, with 9 lives and a tail. Finally, we have 10, and that's pronounced ju. Now, if we imagine that's one arm going across there with 5 fingers at the end, and that's another arm coming down there with 5 fingers at the end, and that gives you a total of 10 fingers. 2 arms and 10 fingers, and that's the kanji ju, meaning 10. Finally, let's look at how we would write numbers which are larger than 10. For example, 11. Well, Japanese numbers are so easy to write because you literally write the kanji for the sound that you make. Now, you probably know that 11 is ju ichi, so to write in kanji, you simply write ju, just as you said, ichi. What about ju go? There we have it. Ju, just as I'm saying it, go. There's the character for go or 5. Ju go. What about 20 or ni ju? Well, just as we said, there's the ni and there's the ju. Ni ju. Shall we try 26? Ni ju roku. Ni, just as we say it. Ju roku. Ni ju roku. Now, traditional Japanese characters don't include zeros to write numbers, so whatever you say, you write down with the appropriate character. Just before we finish our video tutorial, I want to point out that in modern Japan, when you're writing across, you actually don't use kanji numbers usually. You write the numbers using the same numbers as we do. So if you wanted to write 23 and you were writing across, you'd simply write 23 just like that. But if you were writing the traditional way, then you'd use the Japanese characters ni-ju, san. So across using Western numerals and down using kanji. And that's it. You're now experts in writing numbers in kanji.